Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. And we're going to do something a tiny bit different. I'm going to get into a bit of gaming, as I don't normally do this. And apparently, EA is, as they were being bought out by Saudi Arabia for $55 billion, it seems that they might be selling Bioware and DICE because it doesn't look like they've been doing very well in terms of purchases outside of Battlefield 6, which seems to be doing well. I haven't played Battlefield since I want to say the inception of Battlefield 1, and that's being nice, honestly, in my perspective. But without further ado, we have this. EA may sell BioWare and DICE or close other studios, says analysts. Near the end of September, EA disclosed a $55 billion deal to take the third-party video game publisher under a new ownership group, including Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. Jared Kushner's affinity partners and the private equity from Silver Lake. It's also the largest leveraged buyout of all time, and it will require EA to settle $20 billion in debt, according to several punishment. It is kind of a punishment, isn't it? Prominent analysis: the fastest way for EA to reach that number is by shedding studios and selling some of them off. According to a report by Polygon, multiple analysts believe that BioWare is a prime candidate to be sold because of the studio's struggles over the last decade. BioWare's Dragon Age Veilguard fell far below EA's expectations, and the studio was hit by numerous layoffs in the aftermath. A much smaller team of the studio is currently working on the next Mass Effect title, which may entice potential buyers. I don't think it will. And part of the reasons why I don't think it will entice very many buyers is because Andromeda did so bad and it's been so long that I don't see any hype for any of the Mass Effect for that much. I mean, most of Mass Effect kind of died during Mass Effect 3, let's be honest. I mean, Mass Effect 3 wasn't the greatest game in existence and we were talking about the Mass Effect franchise, and that was already kind of on shaky grounds after Mass Effect 3, and then Andromeda just kind of destroyed it. And now you're going to say after, I don't know how many years, almost a decade even, you're going to make another Mass Effect game that people potentially don't even want to buy. Yeah, I don't see that going well. It says EA is currently throwing its promotional muscle and behind Battlefield 6 because that is doing quite well. The first-person shooter that's competing with Activision's Call of Duty franchise. While that may mean DICE, the developer of the game player's multiple player mode, is safe from being sold at the moment, analysis suggests that could change if Battlefield 6 underperforms. Since The Sims 4 is one of EA's top-earning games, the analysis believe Maxis is likely safe from being sold off. However, DFC Intelligence President David McCall believes that even Maxis could be sold if a premium offer was made by an outsider buyer. He also predicted that there will be a sizable layoffs at EA's studios, regardless of whether they are purchased by other companies. It's important to note that the deal isn't finalized yet and may not be closed until EA's fiscal 2027 year, which begins in April 2026. That's a very long list of properties and IP owned by EA, and GameSpot has already broken down the deal and what that may happen next. Well, let me tell you this. There is potential for Battlefield 6 to do very, very well as of currently right now. That does not mean Battle 6 will do super well in the coming year or two. And most of the time, FPS games and most games in general do end up falling off in the past at least half a year, if not more. And I don't know how well it will do later on. Also, asking $70 for a Battlefield game is a lot. I don't see on how well that will do in the coming months. And yeah, I think BioWare is doomed. And let's be perfectly honest here. We all know that BioWare is going to be making a game that, not BioWare, but they're going to be making a game for Halo. And Halo is already going to be, so that's already doomed. So, which BioWare has nothing to really do with Halo anymore. They've been given the reins to 343 Studios, but I digress. It gets worse because apparently we have this here from former Dragon Age director says EA's new owners won't censor BioWare's progressive messaging unless they want apocalyptic backlash. I don't know how apocalyptic it's going to be. I mean, most of the gaming community, as far as I know, is against you guys. The reason why your games fail is because nobody supports their trash to begin with. So you expecting anybody to really think there are going to be a massive backlash, I don't see how that's going to do anything. Says a $55 billion acquisition of EA by consortium, including Saudi Arabia, etc., etc. Fans of EA owned Bioware are concerned about the involvement of PIF due to the prevalence of progressive messaging in the studio series, which people fear may be under threat. Homosexuality is illegal in Saudi Arabia, that it is, and with the country's laws allowing the use of death penalty for individuals engaging in homosexual acts. Yes, it's so far that they hate homosexuality so much that they would rather you become a trans person than forcefully than you be a homosexual. So there you have it. I mean, Saudi Arabia is not the very kindest group of people for what you would say homosexuals or gay people in general. So you got to keep that under tight wraps unless you want to be, thrown off a building. It says here, in a recent video about the acquisition, former Dragon Age director Mark Dara pondered the future of Bioware and the studio's messaging going forward. If this is a PR move for the Saudi Arabia government as much as it is a financial one, the studios that don't have much of a track record, what might do is just some come in and put your thumbs on the scale and push their messaging in the directions you want, or at the very least, steer them away from messaging that makes you look bad. Well, I don't think the backlash is going to care. It's going to matter much, especially with the fact that it's owned by Saudi Arabia. So if you think that you little whimsily type things is going to do anything, it won't. I mean, it's a no-win scenario for BioWare or EA in general. Because what happens is, if you do win and they keep pushing the leftist propaganda and all this other stuff here, progressive messaging here, then guess what happens? The company dies anyways. And then if the company doesn't cater to you guys and there's enough of you that don't support it, the company dies anyways. So it's between a rock and a hard place. Their best bet is just to go with the people that won't necessarily cancel them, that will actually pay money to buy their games in the first place. Because let's be honest, the far leftists do not pay money to play their games at all. So their best bet is to try to get the populace that has money and try to allow them or try to get them to buy their games. Whereas you leftists, you will just not do it anyways. I mean, I don't see how it's a good thing here. So it says, it's hard to imagine that you have BioWare pivot from having very progressive messaging to having the reverse because it's what the government wants. It's hard to imagine that the public perception of a game that comes out of BioWare, even if you do that, isn't apocalyptic bad. Essentially, changing BioWare would lead to significant public backlash, so the new owners can either leave the studio alone or try to paddle more for subliminal messaging. It's not going to work because, again, we know that BioWare is going to be making, or not BioWare, but we know 343 Studios is going to be releasing or making a new game for Halo. And we all know on how bad that's going to be because that's not going to end up well. I love Halo. I've been playing Halo since I was a kid, ever since my brother brought me an Xbox and this amazing gem of a game called Halo, and I played it and the entire family loved it. I was probably the one that was most loved the game because I love the universe. I love Master Chief. I love the Arbiter. I loved all these characters that were in the game. I liked just the universe in general. And I loved it all the way up to Halo 3. Now, Halo 4 is not the greatest game, and it just kept on getting progressively worse as the series went on. And Halo Infinity was so buggy and was... honestly, there was no content. They killed the game. There was no content for the game, so it killed it. And then they want to make another Halo game, but it's being produced by progressive, far left-leaning people, and that game's gonna fail. I haven't been interested in Halo since the 5th game, honestly. And Halo Infinite killed that, and any game past that is not gonna make me happy at all. So I don't see where this is gonna go. Progressive games are going to continue to die, and BioWare's in trouble. BioWare's in trouble because now they have to find a company that will want to, support them, and I don't see that happening anytime soon, honestly. I don't see any company that looks at BioWare and be looking at their past games like, man, you guys are really not doing well financially. I mean, most of the past games that you've made so far have been a flop. So we're not going to do that because there's a huge risk of trying to take BioWare. And then if BioWare goes out, then you go out too. So it's just not a beneficial thing. All right, guys, that's it for the video. Let's share. As always, take care, my friends.